My name is Jervis and I am a media entrepreneur making films, television, music, video games, events and business to business, and we'll discover more of what that means later. An entrepreneur to me is somebody who's a big dreamer, somebody who seeks to not just make money for themselves, but an entrepreneur can even be a social entrepreneur, somebody who's willing to make a change and a difference in not just their lives, but in other people's lives. Working in a big corporate is different to running your own company, because with your own company, you have to take lead. You should take lead in any job that you do, but in your own company, you have to bear in mind that you're only as good as the people you serve within your company. So the better you are to your people, the better your company's performance is. Whereas in a big corporate company, you may not be responsible for the whole company, you're responsible for part of it, and therefore your decisions may not always go right to the top. But you can still affect change depending how good you are. For any young person wanting to break into the entertainment industry, I would say dream big and look at the talent you have. And remember that your talent is actually a gift that you have, and you can make it a gift to the world. I've worked with some of the biggest artists ever, and one of the things I noticed about working with them was that they always believed in their audience and their fan base, and they were willing to give of themselves. And that's why many of those artists have stood the test of time. So I'd say to artists today who want to make a career for themselves, and it doesn't matter if you're a DJ, a performer, a writer, a musician, a dancer, an actor, you have to look at your skill and how good do you really want to be. There is no advice that I can give to become an entrepreneur. Generally, people become that because they have a passion. So my hobby was comic books, and I used to buy and sell and collect and read comic books. I pretty much learned to read from comic books. And then I ended up working with Marvel and DC and Star Trek and Batman and all these big shows. And that stemmed from my love and my passion. So my hobby became my career. And most people, when I talk to a lot of young people and I ask, what's your hobby? They say, well, what is that? Is it playing video games? Well, if video games are your passion and your hobby, you can become a programmer, you can become a creative content writer. There are many things you can do. So, like I said, it doesn't matter what your passion is, that's what will make you an entrepreneur. The advice that I would give to my younger self, well, it's quite interesting. That I would just say, keep continuing to dare to be different. And there's nothing I could tell my younger self that I didn't become, because I've lived all my dreams. What inspires me is people in the planet. I've always been into space. I've always been into the environment. I've always been fascinated by people because I come from the Windrush generation of families. And so when I was growing up, there were all sorts of people in my house. And so I just was fascinated by people and shared stories. And it's funny that I've become quite successful in storytelling, whether it's through film, television, music, books, whatever it is. But essentially those stories come from people. And I guess that, I started to do big global shows because I was interested in the planet. So I didn't think that Hackney was my only home. If you want big, you got to think big. I'd like to give a big shout out to Inside Success for inspiring young people, giving them hope and helping them to chase their dreams.